University of Bolton has launched their Centre for Advanced Performance Engineering in partnership with motorsport leaders like RLR Msport and Ginetta, and workshop design specialists System Store Solutions. This gives students practical experience working in a real racing environment alongside prominent engineering professionals.
We partnered with the University of Bolton because they asked us to help them with their automotive course as it currently was, and basically it developed into a relationship where we moved the whole team down to the university to develop the programme for the students.
Engineering's key. It's key to all aspects of life in theory, but in motor racing it's the pinnacle. So engineering, we're looking for the guys which have got practical experience as well, and working with CAPE it's very, very unique. You know, they offer the theory side, which is very important. It shows they've got an aptitude to learn, but what we're looking for is hands-on experience, and CAPE gives them that ability to work on real race cars in real situations. You know, some of these students will be at Le Mans working on racing cars, so as a concept it's unique, and we're absolutely privileged to be part of it.
In creating the centre, we're looking to draw on the skills and knowledge of the industry, understand what it is that the industry wants from students, and to therefore match the course to what they want rather than to what an educational institution thinks that they want.
Motorsport engineering is constantly evolving and developing new technology that will shape the future of the industry. Centres like CAPE enable students to get to grips with the latest advances and breakthroughs within engineering.
New technologies developed from a programme like this are FiberLec, which is a electric harvesting material through movement of fibres. The university is also a world leader in fibres of textiles and carbons. We weave our own carbon composites, things like that. So that will all develop and move back into the motorsport side.
Motor racing has always been used as the platform to develop new technologies, and look at Formula One with the latest spec of hybrid cars through to Le Mans, the recovery systems they've got in place. So all these technologies, it's people pushing the boundaries, trying to produce more power in a more efficient way, and it starts from scratch at the universities and works through to to these lead manufacturing facilities. In the UK we're still world leading in this respect, so coming to university, learning the skills, working with manufacturers like ourselves opens up the doors for these students for the future to progress into all forms of motor racing.
Why wasn't this available to me in 1965 when I started? Rather than just arrive at a racetrack, totally ignorant of what I was supposed to be doing, try to run a car myself and drive it with help from my father. This would have been absolute gold dust for me at the time. Motor racing has developed so much in the last few years. The technology is so intense that I think a degree, certainly with the facilities here at Bolton, is essential if you want to get into motorsport engineering.
University of Bolton is expanding with £25 million of investment, ensuring the facilities remain at the cutting edge of this industry. A well-designed and innovative workshop is essential to meet the pressures and demands of the motorsport engineering industry.
The site has manufacturing capabilities of what I try to say is a one-stop shop, where from initial thought, from initial idea, we can produce and manufacture and stress analyse that component. So we can go from CNC machining, from stress analysing on the software, to actually putting the product onto the car and testing it on the track. I chose System Store Solutions when we first built the complex because they've got a name in the industry. They've worked with many different racing teams before. The product's superb, and they provided us exactly what we wanted, and the design, it was faultless. Everything that they did for us just works well. It's important for everything to have its place in a motorsport team, to be organised, so that it keeps the working environment correct throughout the season.
The crucial point, when they're in an environment which is tidy, it's clean, and their access to all the equipment is easy, they've got a clear head as to what they're going to do on a race car. So from me, as a racing driver's point of view, if I'm in the car and I say to my engineer, we've got a problem, they know exactly where to go in the workshop, they know what tools to get, and it just gives them that clear vision of what they're doing.
If you look at the top motor racing teams, it's very, we could say, clinical. And it's like that for a number of reasons. You know, a car comes into the pits, first job is it should be cleaned. Reason being, you can easily spot failures, cracks, etc. And that applies into the workspace. So it needs to be a very, very clean and well thought out workspace. If it's methodically laid out, as a car goes through a certain process in different bays, there's less risk of errors. So it's a way of ingraining into the students that methodical approach. It's not scattergun in any way. It's not spanners throughout, coming out of the bonnets and tools on the floor. Everything needs to have a place, and we look for that, and we put that into our engineers. It needs to be a very clean workshop, and not just that. In terms of a commercial aspect, which people don't always think about. Engineering is very highly linked to commercial. Me as a driver, if I'm walking into a workshop and it's something out of the 1950s, very scruffy oil around, would I want to invest my money into that as a driver? Probably not. Would I want to sell that to my sponsors? Definitely not. So image, branding, linked back to engineering is how this industry will grow.
The facilities are outstanding. The university has gone out and found the best equipment that it can, so the students can actually see what they're working with the top. If they get a job with the top industry, they're already using the equipment that's used in the top industry here. So they're familiar with it, and it's familiar surroundings. The students hit the ground running. We want a student not to help the employer benefit. We're not there for the employer to start training a student. That's our job.
The workshop environment is immensely important. We need to reproduce a professional and quality environment that again mirrors what they're likely to see in industry and at the pit side, and therefore providing students with top equipment and tools and the facilities in order to be able to undertake the work that we expect of them to a standard, and it just enhances the whole professional environment and the professionalism of the teaching environment as well as the people that are coming in.
A career in motorsport engineering is challenging and demands that you work well in a team under severe pressure. Mistakes can cost lives, meaning centres like CAPE are instrumental in ensuring graduates are fully prepared for this industry.
The primary objective is to give students exposure to the type of materials, cars, techniques and machinery that they will see in the working environment, which means that we can develop and hone their skills and their proficiency while also developing their knowledge and understanding.
I think the key here is the students come to a work type environment. So when we go out to the racetrack, they're familiar with what they're going to expect when we go set up the garage in the pits and what have you. So it's kind of taking their education from this workshop and putting it onto the circuit, and that's what, this is the key here. This is their unique thing at the university here.
When the students go to a racetrack, they get into a pit lane environment, in a pit garage. It's all going to be the same as when they were here at Bolton, so it won't be unusual. They will be working in a known environment, but with a lot more pressure.
Working alongside industry professionals in the classroom, the workshop and the racetrack gives students the theoretical and practical experience, as well as the contacts to boost their employability after graduating.
I think universities, obviously, the landscape of universities changed because students are obviously, cost is borne by the student now, so directly, so the students become more of a customer than anything else. Bringing RLR and the university as a partnership has been superb because the students get to see the end level of education that's going to get them a job, which is what everybody wants. The motorsport engineering guys will do aerodynamics, and they'll work through lots of different industries. They got potential of getting jobs in different industries that they originally couldn't get into on a different course.
The graduates should be able to see a broad range. The fundamentals of engineering are the fundamentals of engineering, and although we are particularly focusing on creating motorsport excellence. The skills and abilities that they'll gain with us will allow them to move into aerospace, general engineering, and anywhere where that ability to work professionally from a base of knowledge and understanding will see them in good stead. And at the end of the day, the motor industry in the UK is growing and developing, and the demand for quality engineers will always be there.
In the UK, we are the leaders in world motorsport. I think motorsport, not only in circuit racing, but in rallying and all forms of motorsport, it is an expanding business. There are millions of people working in motorsport, and we need to regenerate mechanics, engineers, drivers. The sport is expanding, and I think the opportunities are endless.
The UK has a strong reputation for engineering, particularly within motorsport. Collaborative relationships between industry and universities are essential in training and recruiting the next generation of talent with the necessary skills to fill the crucial need for advanced engineers.
Funding is tight, you're limited on resource. We're always trying to push the boundaries and bring new cars out, but we need to work with universities who have the capacity. They want that link to industry, and we can offer them that. So it's a great collaboration, and it's, I think we're pioneering it with Bolton and Keating in the UK, and it's something which will grow, I'm sure, in the future.
We've taken this new idea into a university, and it's worked. The future of motorsport engineering, in my opinion, looks really strong. There's a shortage of advanced performance engineers at the high end, and that's what the UK has always been good at. So the shortage of jobs in this industry and the talent that's coming through from the universities, those places should be filled pretty fast, in my opinion.
I'm involved really to promote women in motorsport. I want to encourage more females to come into motorsport, but that's just not racing, that's engineering as a whole. And I see the opportunities here vast with attracting women as well.
It will become increasingly computer-based, model-based, but I think, like a lot of industries, is that what were divisions where you might have a suspension person and an aerodynamicist, that increasingly these will come together and people will need a broader understanding. So there will be an integration of what perhaps were seen as separate skills. And also the increasing complexity. So no longer is it enough to be a basic mechanic who can change a wheel. You will need to understand the complexities, the systems, the computers that all go together to make a team a success.
Engineering, apprenticeships, universities, it kind of had a dull patch maybe 15, 20 years ago, but now I think engineering's at the forefront. And as a country, if you like, we need to be producing more engineers, making more things. And if we can be leading in technology and in motor racing, which is worldwide, I think there's a great future for British engineering, British motor racing.